This April, prepare to meet
Captain Sparkle Fingers.
No, it's not. That's not my name.
Shazam.
You're him. You're the hero.
Just say the word.
Shazam! Oh, hey, I'm a superhero.
Shazam. In cinemas April 5. Book tickets now.
I want Odell Beckham to get paid because he needs the bail money for Aunt Becky.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
I'm watching the news right now.
That's a whole another podcast.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The Aunt Becky memes today were gold.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Uncle Jesse didn't know what was going on. He had no clue.
Yeah.
He had no clue.
Or there was the one with Michelle holding like her fingers like guns, like I'm coming to get Aunt Becky out of jail.
The Donut Bag is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the smart way to buy and resell tickets. It takes confusion out of buying tickets. They put a 0 to 10 score on each ticket to let you know if you're getting a good or bad deal. Use promo code DonutBag to get $20 off your first purchase. Go to SeatGeek.com or get the SeatGeek app. SeatGeek, life's an event. We have the tickets. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Donut Bag, part of the Pod Hub Network. In this episode, Ashley Wright, Mark Hagelauer, and I have a nice impromptu vent session over everything going on in the NFL lately. Odell Beckham Jr. is getting traded to the Browns. The Ravens losing a bunch of defensive players. The Steelers doing not much, maybe? But first, this is in the middle of the morning on Wednesday, and there's a report that Le'Veon Bell is signing with the Jets for 4 years, $52.5 million. He sat out a year, threw away a year, $14.5 million for not that great of an offer. So this is from Albert Breer. Le'Veon Bell had over $15 million per on the table with the Steelers in July. Walked away from $14.54 million after that. Not great decision making. Crazy. It's just funny. Anyway, the Donut Bag starts right now. Okay. Hi. So this is another one of those impromptu podcasts that we're becoming pretty common lately. Me and Mark were talking at 6 a.m. on a Sunday a few days ago.
I couldn't believe that was crazy.
Yeah. So there's the news that Odell Beckham is getting traded to the Browns, and Ashley replies to me, "Interview me now." Like, wow.
He's like, round table right now.
I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
Like, why do you? Yeah. Why did the Tampa Bay? Did the Lightning win yet again or something? It's like, no, about the Giants. I'm like, I had no idea you're a Giants fan. So you're a big Giants fan, Ashley?
Yes, I grew up in eastern Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, New York territory. And you have to remember, I'm only a Penguins fan because of Wilkes-Barre and then going to Pitt.
Okay.
So I am a diehard Giants fan. I always like to say that if Norwood made the kick, I would have been thrown into the TV. And that was my sister's birthday, which was really funny on top of it. And then Super Bowl 42 was my birthday, and I looked at my dad. I'm like, Dad, if they lose this, you're not throwing me. I'm a little too big for that. I have been through the highs of the highs, the lows of the lows. I survived Dave Brown. I actually chased him down at training camp once. I was 6 years old. It was our first year in Albany. So I have quite the history with this interesting franchise. But people tend to forget, I know a lot of the listeners here are Pittsburgh fans. You've got to remember there are a lot of parallels between the Steelers and the Giants.
The owners and everything.
The Maras and Rooneys are actually related. one of the Rooneys is married to one of the Maras, and they had kids, and their daughters are actresses, and one of them goes by Rooney Mara because Rooney is her middle name. So when I was at Pitt, I used to get crap for wearing Giant stuff, and my comeback was, well, your owners are related to my owners, so you just need to settle. So yeah, I am a huge Giants fan, and let me tell you, so I've already discussed this. I was born in 1990, and obviously Odell Beckham was probably one of the more vibrant players who've ever played for the Giants. Not as vibrant as LT. And I'm not, no. And I know to people my age, they're like, well, LT is LaDainian Tomlinson. No. There is only one LT.
He's the OG LT.
There is only one LT, and he wore 56.
Yes.
Okay.
He was amazing to watch. So I grew up watching him.
Best linebacker ever.
Yeah.
It's not named Jack Ham or Jack Lambert.
Yeah. Well, definitely. I mean that is a tough discussion here with Lambert and LT. But anyway, when there, a lot of people would actually draw parallels between Beckham and LT because of the personalities. Some things to keep in mind, though, when LT played, you didn't have social media. Top of it, Wellington Mara was around, as was George Young. The combination of them, they were not tolerating. Yeah. Exactly. And it's the same thing when, Dan Rooney was around. Yeah. I think there are just so many parallels between Odell with the Giants and Antonio Brown with the Steelers.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what has Odell done besides, I know there was that, real, okay, yeah. And then there was that feud with Josh Norman where they were fighting, and then they were on a boat.
The boat thing started everything. And to me, like, I tend to blame Victor Cruz for that trip, just because Victor Cruz was the most veteran player out of that group. However, the sources say that that trip was Odell's idea. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, you Nimrods made 2 Super Bowls in 5 years. You didn't go on a boat trip before the playoffs either time because you were too worried about going to the playoffs. Then all of a sudden Odell comes around. He's like, I want to go on a boat. I'm like, oh, congratulations. You went to the playoffs. Can you actually win a game here? And what was really frustrating about that game was they were actually in it for the first half. And Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie went down. And they were going with like the 3-man set in the secondary. And when DRC went down, everything went to hell. Odell didn't quite pull a Jeremy Shockey. He didn't quite give up and throw the game, but he might as well have. And when I say talk about Jeremy Shockey throwing the game, I'm talking about the 2002 wild card playoff game.
Did he leave or something? Or no?
No, he didn't leave.
I vaguely remember that,
but Shockey just they had that 24-point lead going into the second half, and Shockey just decided to not care. And actually, speaking of him, I think that's who you can compare Odell to, really, is Jeremy Shockey. They both have these larger than life personalities.
Very skilled, very good players.
Yes. And you think about teams in New York, typically they have, these larger than life personalities. However, the Giants have always had a history of kind of keeping that, they don't deal with that very well. I mean, they let LT do it, but it was kind of this weird, toxic but amazing combination with Bill Parcells and LT, where they just let each other be themselves. But that normally doesn't work with the Giants. So I felt like Odell was always just a bad personality fit. He's a great player. I hope he does well for the Browns. I know you guys don't hope that because you're Steelers fans, and he is now up there with everyone else. The one thing I will say is with the Browns, with Odell and Jarvis Landry, they better not both screw up my fantasy team, because they were both on one of my fantasy teams last year.
Offset each other.
And I was sick and tired of Jarvis Landry, being hot and cold, and same with Odell. And I don't know if I want to draft them both now or just pass on them both.
So I am looking at Odell Beckham in a Browns uniform catching touchdown passes in Madden, and somebody made a video of it already.
Yeah, people are doing that. People did that with AB too.
Well, the whole AB thing though, like the difference is AB like totally teased that for a few weeks, and
he totally sabotaged.
It makes it so much more infuriating that he intentionally sabotaged his value just so he could get what he wanted, and they got a 3rd and a 5th round pick for him, and the Browns gave up a 1st and a 3rd and a good player
and a
for
good
Odell
safety.
Beckham. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
I am very so we were talking we kind of alluded to this before we went on air about, is the Giants fan base happy? From what I have seen, the vast majority is flipping out. They are doing what Pittsburgh fans wanted to do to Jim Rutherford a couple weeks ago. They basically want to, burn him at the stake. I do not. And here's the reason why. First off, this is not Gettleman's first run with the Giants. So before he was the GM with Carolina, he was actually he was in various roles with the Giants under Ernie Corsi. He was not the assistant GM, but he was still pretty high up. And my whole thing is he knows how the Giants are supposed to work. And does it look crazy that he's letting Landon Collins walk? Sure. Does it look crazy that he traded Vernon to the Browns? Sure. Does it look wild that he traded Beckham to the Browns? Probably. But you know what? He's cleaning house.
Yeah,
they're
cleaning up. Bit of a rebuild now anyway. They're not really...
Exactly. He is cleaning up 10 plus years of mistakes. Because people need to remember that Jerry Reese may have been the GM for those Super Bowls, but he did not actually win those Super Bowls. That was all Ernie Corsi. And actually, Gettleman played a big part in those Super Bowls because he helped build those teams. And people forget that.
And once they got all those defensive guys, that's when the Giants really got strong, when they had those strong defenses. And as Steeler fans, we have to be Giants fans a little bit because they beat the Patriots in 2 Super Bowls. So.
Right. Well, and the Giants and Steelers have historically operated with similar mentalities. Have a strong line on both sides of the ball, have a strong running game, and then everything else falls into place. Like I said, the Steelers have usually operated like that. The Giants have usually operated like that. So to have this superstar wide receiver, I will tell you, this is the other thing. This is the other reason why I'm really happy, and I can't believe I'm just thinking of this now. So when the Giants drafted Odell Beckham, this was 2014, there was some guy who was still on the board who I really wanted the Giants to go after because I felt that they needed him more than they needed a wide receiver. And that guy's name is Aaron Donald.
Oh, yeah. Well, we would not want him on there.
Boy, were you wrong about him.
Yeah, right.
I am still mad 5 years later. That is Jerry Reese's fault, because here's the problem, is Jerry Reese had the draft mentality of he wanted to take whoever was the best available no matter what position they were in, which is the stupidest mentality you can have as a GM.
That's the Steelers' philosophy too, and that's why we have to do such stupid things as re-sign Chicolo to a contract. Yeah, oh my God, I'm so mad.
I think it's a little bit different when the Steelers haven't been bad enough to, get a top 10 pick for how long. Right. So I think it's a little different when you're always picking in the 20s. You can maybe do that kind of thing, but you might be able to pick the best player available, but.
Yeah, well, and I mean, in some years, if the draft is a little bit weaker, so to speak, I think you can do that. And I think this year, after, Kyler Murray and Dwayne Haskins are off the board, that's exactly what's going to happen. And now there's some